Oh, MAGA, you're in trouble. Apparently there's a shortage of workers on the farm. But don't worry, MAGA. Brooke Collins, who heads agriculture, says that she has a solution. Seems like Trump and Brooke Collins have put their heads together and come up with a solution to solve the problem on the farms losing workers. Let's watch the video and see what Brooke Collins has to say to solve this issue.
Score enough. There will be no amnesty. The mass deportations continue, but in a strategic way, and we move the workforce towards automation and 100% American participation, which again, with 34 million people, able-bodied adults on Medicaid, we should be able to do that fairly quickly. Thank you.
Did you hear that, MAGA? They're saying if you're able-bodied and on Medicaid, you are going to work in the fields. MAGA, this is where it hits you. You're going to work in the fields. And you're going to see what it's like for these undocumented immigrants to come to America and work a hard day's labor in the American fields. Get ready to pack up Mima and Pop-Pop and put them on a bus and send them to the fields, MAGA. That's what you voted for, and that's what you deserve. Tell me what you guys think about this.
Grand rising kings and queens from Africa and across the ocean. Thank you so much for choosing this, another powerful conversation that I'm going to speak about. It's about white farmers. And white farmers right now are having some problems. And I want to twist this one. I want to say this. White farmers back then ignored black people or black pain for centuries. So what they are going through right now, it's a hard pill to swallow. But the cries of those who once benefited from a system of oppression now echo through the same fields where black labor once built an empire. I'll say this. I've come across videos where white farmers are saying people, they don't have workers to work on them. They voted Trump and then this is happening. First of all, just let's watch these clips and then we continue.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce. An exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know.
Oh no, this is so sad. There are a bunch of white Texas farmers who are losing their farms right now. Because guess what? 100% of their workforce vanished. Wow. So all those people, who got eyes called on them, they were working on the farms. So now that they're gone, they cannot sustain the farms. You know what's crazy about this video? Because I talked about this like 2 months ago when Trump brought over all these South Afrikaners, farm people, where we find out that they were not really even farmers. And I was talking about this and found out that a few of our dear white farmers here had started losing their farms because of promises that were made to them and was not kept by this administration. So now it's trickling down to some other farmers because now their workforce, they're gone. And I was seeing somewhere where somebody came over, and it was a Caucasian man. He came over from Twitter and he was like, y'all, a lot of these farmers, white farmers, they thought that black people were going to come and work for their farms. There's a lot going on in this country right now. You know, us heading into possibly World War II. But this is a conversation just to kind of talk about right now. That people are kind of seeing I guess what's the word? I can't even find the word, but the decisions that they made, they are coming back to hunt them. Let's just say that. So sorry to hear this, but yeah. So I do hope that some of these Native Americans that did lose their lands, that they do get back some of these farms that are being lost.
You want to get rid of illegal immigrants, quit eating. And that's for everybody. That's, nationwide. If you want to get rid of them, quit eating. That'll solve the problem.
But when only 5 pickers showed up this morning to harvest his sweet potatoes, farmer Keith Smith saw possible ruin, the loss of his $500,000 crop.
They're running scared because of this new law.
And you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble, bad trouble.
Smith's 200 acres need 20 pickers, mostly Mexican nationals.
There is not enough documented people here to supply that workforce.
Most of your workers are here illegally.
That's sure. If they got documentation, they got a better job working for me.
Fernando Aldeman, a Mexican national, has worked Smith's farm since 1992.
Everybody's just scared.
Yeah.
Now, are you here legally? No.
No.
So, are you scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared,
Smith's pickers make about $100 a day. He supports immigration laws, just not this one that threatens his third-generation family.
So I just saw this video of this white man who's not MAGA, by the way, or at least he says he's not, but because he damn sure selling the look. But he says he has a fake account over on Twitter, and he joined this group of white farmers, and he's pretending to be MAGA just to see what they're talking about. So apparently they had this group chat or group call where the white MAGA farmers were upset and saying the only reason why they voted for Shitty Britches was because they thought the blacks didn't have jobs and the blacks would come back and work their fields. They thought they were going to get slavery back by voting for Shitty Britches. But they have been saying loud and proud with their chest that immigrants were taking their jobs. Yet, there are a couple of farms here in Texas that overnight lost 100% of their workforce. But immigrants was taking their jobs, right? Racism is expensive, huh?
All right, MAGA, get out there. Where are you at? You got your jobs back. You got your jobs that were taken from you. Get out there. Get out there and start working. Get to work. America first. Get out there. 100% haven't shown up to work due to immigration raids, Texas farmer says. America's migrant workers are terrified to work, but unable to stay home. So get out there, MAGA. You got these jobs back. You took them back. You voted. You got your guy in there to get rid of all of those migrant workers. So get out there. Get out there and start working. But for real, I want to shout out to the undocumented migrant workers as they were deemed essential in 2020. They stepped up when this nation needed them most. They have my utmost respect. They should see a pathway to citizenship. Period. Period. They were deemed essential workers, risking their lives in one of the most hazardous jobs in the entire U.S. labor market. They have my full respect. Thank you for your service and your contribution to this country.
It's Joe from Georgia. So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement. But the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to buy.
Welcome back. Now, I want to flip this one or to mix this one with the historical context, black labor, white wealth and everything. For centuries in America, I'll say this, agriculture was a cornerstone of economy, but those who worked on the field, who made cotton king, who turned sugar, tobacco and rice into gold for white landowners were black people. And from slavery to sharecropping, black Americans were the unpaid engines behind American farming. Their sweat, their blood and tears irrigated the land while white farmers built generational wealth. They profited so hard off the labor, or white farmers profited off the labor that they never did off. Now, even when slavery ended, the pain didn't end. Here came Jim Crow law, it took over. Sharecropping contracts replaced shackles, white farmers still called the shots, and black families were trapped in a circle of debt, poverty, and land theft. Fast forward to 21st century or 20th century, black farmers were systematically shut out of the government loans, insurance, and USDA support. Land was stolen, promises were broken, and when black folks cried out, or when black folks cried fall, nobody listened, nobody marched for them, nobody said this isn't right. They were just told that work harder and stop playing victim. Now today in 2025, we are seeing something very interesting. I didn't want to talk about this topic because I didn't get the breaking point. But when I remembered about the history of black farmers or black people were working on these farms, I decided, I have something to say about it. White farmers are crying. White farmers are complaining. They are in pain. And for the first time in a long time, they feel words like to be ignored by the system they thought would protect them. This system right now, it is ignoring them. It is ignoring them. And that's why they are out there crying. So, what is happening right now is that white farmers across the Midwest and South are struggling. Inflation is high. Fuel prices are draining them. Crop insurance premiums have skyrocketed. Equipment is expensive. And foreign markets, they are dying up, or they are drying up because of broken trade deals and isolated policies that is isolating them. They are losing land, they are losing homes, they are losing faith in their system they once believed in. And what's wild is that most of them voted for Trump. Yes, most of them voted for Trump. They backed a man who promised to bring America back, but he brought them right to the edge of economic ruin. Trump's trade war with China devastated American farmers. Tariffs hurt their exports. Promises of America first meant alienating global buyers. And instead of investing in the agriculture sectors, billions were funneled into tax breaks for the rich and weapons for war. They voted against environmental protections laws, and now climate change is punishing them with floods, droughts, and unpredictable seasons. They voted to slash food stamps, and now the people who brought their produce can't afford it. The people who are buying their produce, they can't afford that food stamps. You see that? They voted to militarize the border, but now they can't find farm labor because the very migrants they demonized were the ones investing their crops or harvesting their crops. They are the ones who are harvesting their crops. And the most painful part is that they backed these policies because they believed Trump was protecting them from others, from black people, from Mexicans, from Muslims, from change. But now it is them who feel abandoned. They supported a system built on division, and now the same system has turned on them. It's poetic, but it's also tragic. Let me say this. Where were these farmers when black people were suffering? When black families couldn't get loans to buy land even through they qualified. They qualified for loans, but they are not getting the loans. When Hurricane Katrina hit and black communities were left to drown, I don't think if they stood in solidarity. When flood deserts ravaged black neighborhoods, or when food deserts ravaged black neighborhoods because of racist redlining and supermarket exclusion, I don't think if they cared. When Flint's water turned toxic, poisoning black babies, I don't think if they protest. When police gunned down black men and women in the street, what did they say? They said nothing. They were silent or were smoking. When black people cried for justice, they were told to get over it. And slavery was a long time ago. They were told to stop playing a victim. But now that they are the ones suffering, suddenly it's not about playing victim. It's nationalist emergency. Suddenly they want empathy. And family, that's not how this works. You don't get to ignore pain for centuries, then demand compassion when it finally reaches your doorstep. That's not justice. That's what we call entitlement. Now, white America is waking up to a bitter truth. The system they thought served only them is failing or is falling apart. And without the exploitation of black labor, immigration work, and stolen indigenous land, it cannot survive. Their illusion of superiority was built on a lie. That's what they need to know. A lie that black people were the problem, a lie that is pulling yourself up by your bootstraps was all it took. By now, they are learning what it feels like to be left out of the American dream. They are watching the government abandon them the same way it abandoned black people. They are experiencing poverty, neglect, and systematic failure. Now, here's the twist. Black people want them. Black people have been shouting for so long about this broken system, about greed, about corruption, racism, and classism. But white Americans did not listen, especially rural white farmers. They looked down on the black struggle. They laughed at the protest. They mocked the marches. And now, it is their turn. It's their turn right now. They're in the fire. Now, why should black people come running now? Why should black people be the saviors when they were the scapegoats for so long? And this is what we call accountability. Now, I believe this is not about revenge. Black people are not vindictive here. Black people are just resilient. But we are also no longer their crutch or your crutch. This is just a wake-up call, not just for white farmers, but for all white Americans. Do you want to rebuild a just and equitable nation, or do you want to keep repeating a cycle of privilege and punishment? Racism is very expensive because the system you built is crumbling. And here's the truth that they can no longer be denied, or they can no longer deny. Black people are not going to save a country that refuses to acknowledge their humanity. Not anymore. Right now, we are building our own future, our own business, our own schools, our own farms, our own communities, and we are doing it without asking permissions. The white farmers crying foul, black people are seeing you. But also remember, when you turned your backs, when you laughed at our pain, when you denied justice to black people, remember that now it's time for you to feel what we felt as black people. Let me talk about something here. Hypocrisy. The hypocrisy keep government out until, what you are seeing right now. The same white farmers who always shouted that we don't need the government, keep the Fed out of our land, we believe in independence, are now lining up for bailouts, subsidies, handouts. Where was that independent cowboy spirit when the tariffs kicked in and they couldn't sell soybean to China? Where was that rugged individualism when drought destroyed their wheat crops? Let me tell you something. White America loved big government when it gave them land stolen from Native Americans, when it gave them free education at the expense of black people and protected their monopolies. But when black people asked for reparation, they said that that's welfare. When black families needed food stamps to survive the generation damage, they say that work harder. And now they're crying foul because they are getting a tiny taste of economy abandonment black communities have felt for centuries. They are realizing the government ain't loyal to nobody, especially not when you are not rich. So farming in America was never neutral. It was never just work. It was political, it was violent, it was racial. Let me break that down if I've lost you. During slavery, a cotton field were war zone where black people were beaten into productivity. During Jim Crow, farming was a tool of racial domination. During the 20th century, black farmers were shut out of the credit, punished with foreclosure, and erased them from the records. And today, we only have 1.4% farmers in America who are black, after once making up 14% to all farmers. That's not by accident, that's by design. When white farmers act like farming was some pure innocent industry, remind them whose hands fertilized the land. Remind them that for centuries agriculture was built on black backs. And when black folks tried to build farms for themselves, the system burned it down. From Florida to Elaine, from the Kansas to Oklahoma, black farming communities were destroyed by white mobs who couldn't handle black independence. Now they want black people right now to feel sorry for their land being foreclosed. Where was that energy when they stole from black people? Because right now, white farmers are crying, black farmers are rising. There is a new generation of black men and women going back to the land, buying and creating something big. It's called, we have this global black awakening. You see that? Black people are going to Africa, they're buying lands. They're going to Kenya and buying lands, starting farming in Tanzania, building in Ghana, and starting tech. Black people are waking up. And this is more than just farming. This is about freedom, about healing, about saying we are not waiting for your system anymore. And black people have realized the government won't feed them. The system won't heal them. They are doing it themselves. And that scares them. Because they know that once black people control the land, control the food, the wealth, the power, and the narrative, they can no longer paint us as helpless because black people are thriving without them. And this issue isn't just American, it's everywhere. In Zimbabwe back then, when land was reclaimed from white settlers and returned to black Zimbabweans, the West cried out, dictatorship. They said that. They sanctioned, was slapped, propaganda flew, but nobody cried for the millions of Africans who were displaced when the British stole their land at the first place. In South Africa, white farmers are still over control, 70% over control of the land. And they scream that reverse racism whenever the government even hint of the land reform. But where nobody screamed for black people when these white settlers took the land, So white farmers crying out today is not a new song, okay? It's that the same chorus they have been singing since colonization, okay? Now, I'll say this. Black people are never the mule anymore, We carried your economies, we raised your children, we worked for your land, we paid the price for your luxury. And when we cried out, you said, work harder, stop complaining, get over it. Well, now it's your time in the fire, and we won't carry your load this time as black people, okay? Just tell me what you think in the comments about this video. Do you think there's some sense in it? Because I just came across these white farmers and I say, let me talk about this, okay? Until next episode, peace out.